Could I ask everybody to take their seats, please? Whew. Good evening. I'm David Kroll, Chair of the Board of the Trustees, and I'd like to call to order the 124th Annual Meeting of the Trustees. Think of it. This organization is 124 years old. We're the oldest conservation and preservation organization in the country. I'm glad to see it has that effect, because what I was just about to say is that we say that a lot when we're trying to establish credibility with others, but it's always with a view to getting something accomplished. It's not to pat ourselves on the back, quite the opposite. We view our incredible platform of reservations as a unique opportunity to get a whole lot of new work done. We believe that our work not only involves saving land and historic buildings, but that we must also turn people on in engagement. That is the essence of our new strategic plan. We are going to have to bring more people into appreciating conservation. So that is the core of our strategic plan. And if I might say so, we're doing a pretty good job. Tonight, we're going to celebrate creating new reservations, activating our wonderful national historic landmarks, and being a significant player in the healthy, locally grown food movement, a new dimension for the trustees. Tonight, you'll see many photos of properties taken from drones. This is actually a good use for drones. Tell us if you like them, and we will do more. First, we will conduct our organizational business. Then we will honor some of our greatest supporters. And then I will review the accomplishments of the past year, and Barbara will give us a glimpse into the future. We really appreciate that you share a passion for our work. You are our ambassadors and our boosters, and you make all the difference. So tonight I want to start by thanking all of you for being here and being the heart of this great organization. Now, Gussie Stanislaw will officially open the meeting so that we can actually conduct business.
Good evening and welcome. I'm happy to declare we have a quorum. And I'd like to ask for a motion to waive the reading of the minutes of the 123rd Annual Meeting of the Corporation held on October 30th, 2014, and approve as emailed and mailed. So may I have a motion? Second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Gussie. Amy Auerbach, Board Treasurer and Chair of the Finance and Audit Committee, will now report on our finances.
Even better than mine. Thank you, Dave. Chairman and Governance, I am pleased to report to you on this year's financial health. For the third year in a row, we continue to see double-digit growth in our total revenues, which has allowed us to increase our overall operating budget to $30 million for fiscal 2016. As you can see from the level of expenses for both fiscal 2015 and the projections for 2016, we continue to strive for a balanced budget even as we are investing more and more in the organization. This slide provides a breakdown of the total expenses by program services and supporting services. And you can see year to year that this level of growth requires both areas of expense to keep pace with each other. As we focus more of our new investments on furthering our audience, we must ensure that we also sustain and increase our donor base through support for marketing and development departments. Other program services such as land conservation, cultural resources, stewardship, and operations continue to be the largest part of our expenditures, and we continue to make important investment in these areas consistent with our strategic plan. Our endowment, our most significant financial asset, has recovered from the losses of the recession. While this is excellent news on its own, there are also two important factors that will help us in the future. First, the changes in the draw calculation made by the Investment Committee have resulted in an effective spending rate approaching 4.5% in fiscal 2016. And second, the endowment support as a percentage of the total operating budget has been reduced in the recent years from over 30% to approximately 22%. That means that the relative growth in our operating budget is being supported from other sources, including new and expanded earned income products and services and fundraising opportunities. We are becoming less dependent on the endowment, which will ultimately create a more sustainable and less vulnerable profile for our organization. Chairman, I submit this report for the record and ask whether or not there is a motion for its acceptance. Is there a second? All approved? Thank you. The Treasurer's report has been submitted to the meeting minutes. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amy, for reporting on our financial health and growth. As you saw, we have been growing at a double-digit rate, we operate at a surplus, and we have no debt. Perhaps someone from Washington is listening. This really positions us well to accomplish our work. Now we will see the first of the drone videos.
Hello and welcome to Appleton Farms!
Welcome to Appleton Farms. My name is Beth Shao. I'm the education manager here at the farm. Appleton Farms was founded in 1638 as a working farm. That makes this farm one of the oldest continuously operating farms in America. For 375 years, this farm has been actively farmed by 9 generations of Appletons and now the Trustees of Reservations. In 1974, Colonel Appleton and his wife Joan decided it would be time to pass this farm on to the Trustees of Reservations to protect and care for the farm forever. The farm is open to the public 365 days a year. We welcome visitors every day to come and visit the animals, learn about where their food comes from, and see the rich agricultural history that is here at Appleton Farms. We now have a bustling CSA, which is a community-supported agriculture program, where families come and pick up their vegetables once a week. We see over 650 families each week through that operation. We sell our own 100% grass-fed beef and our own beautifully creamy, delicious Jersey milk here on the farm. We also run year-round array of programs and events, things like Father's Day bluegrass barbecues or fall festivals, things for the holidays and Mother's Day brunches. In the winter, we see thousands of visitors come to cross-country ski and snowshoe. We have mountain bikers and hikers in the summer. It's a real gathering place for picnics and family events. We're here to welcome you. Bring your friends, bring your family, and come visit Appleton Farms.
Sorry to interrupt all this great conversation. I know one of the most fun things about this annual meeting is that getting to see old friends. We conservationists are a pretty committed and collegial group when we get together. But we have some things that we'd like to do tonight. First, each year we recognize retiring members of the board for their exceptional service. These devoted directors give their time, support, and energy to the trustees, and for that we are very grateful. This year, we have 3 such retiring members, and I will ask each one of them to join me individually here on the stage to be recognized and receive a small token of our appreciation while you watch a video on the screen. We're really into videos this year. So I will start by asking Jamie Hoyt to please come up.
I'm honored to have the opportunity to thank Jamie Hoyt for his years of service with the Trustees of Reservations. I'm Buzz Constable, and I've served with Jamie not only on the board of the Trustees, but also on the board of the Boston Natural Areas Network, and I think a few boards and committees over the years having nothing to do with TTOR. As many of you know, Jamie has served the mission of the Trustees of Reservations far beyond the roles he's played within the 4 walls of the organization. In his many years of service, he's served as the Secretary of Environmental Affairs for the Commonwealth. He's been chairman of the board of the Mass Water Resources Authority, been very active in Massport, and just numerous other boards and commissions, including the Mass Environmental Trust. Jamie's legacy with the trustees extends far and wide. He still serves on the nominating committee. I've done a great deal with education and engagement. My closest experience with him, and I think one of the most fundamental impacts he's had on the trustees, was as chairman of the Inclusionary and Diversity Council, which was a unique initiative of the trustees that couldn't have succeeded without his help. During that initiative, the staff at all levels of the trustees, volunteers, and board members worked very closely, almost intimately together in talking about how we reflect on each other, racially, ethnically, but also personally. It was a very trying, intense moment for many, many of us, and Jamie showed his unique powers of quiet leadership, creativity, and consensus building in a way that really supported everyone saying what they believed and coming together in a redirection for the operations of the trustees in issues that related to urban areas as opposed to rural areas, to engaging people, particularly people of all ways of life. Jamie reminded us regularly when we strayed from that. That was particularly true with the Boston Natural Areas Network, where these 2 powerful, very successful organizations were coming together and mixing boards. And Jamie was the representative of the trustees on the Boston Natural Areas Network board, and never failed to provide that connection to the trustees while still successfully pushing the mission of the Boston Natural Areas Network. As you know, we've now come together as a whole, and Jamie, you're responsible for a lot of that. I thank you.
Would Elizabeth Lilly Johnson please join me on the stage?
Lily Johnson and I go back a long way. We had worked at MFA together on creating the New American Wing, and I also observed all that she did down at Winterthur. And what I learned about Lily Johnson is that she is a real hard worker. When she goes on a board, she's committed and she's purposeful, and she is a real asset to that board. So I was absolutely delighted when I approached Lily and asked her to be on the TTOR board, and she was kind enough to say yes, because I knew right then that we really had something special coming for TTOR. The genesis of it was that Lily and I both had this feeling that our cultural resources, our main national historic landmarks, and some of our really important properties needed to sort of come alive. They needed something, frankly, they were becoming a little downtrodden. And we sort of reconceptualized them as not just things we had to take care of, but things that could actually turn into engaging properties that the public would really be excited about. You know, with Lily, she is doing service to something that's really important for the community. That's true of everything that Lily's done, and Lily's one of those people who has worked hard at that for a long part of her life. But in this case, it also, I think, was her passion, because, you know, I first met Lily actually at Winterthur, going through the museum there, the rooms, looking at all the American furniture, decorative arts, and things of that nature. And, you know, we've both been collectors over the last 30 years. Fortunately, we don't bump into each other too much at the auctions, but you see that intense sort of studying things and understanding what history went with that, or why was that important just after the Revolution, or how did that fit into some broader, interesting scheme of craftsmen and superior work? It's always about finding things that really the artist or the craftsman accomplished sort of the top of the game. And Lily has that in her blood, and was able to bring that to the trustees and apply it to our, you know, not only just our properties and our buildings, which you see, but also to a lot of our collections, our archives, and things that the trustees really hadn't had the time or the resources to take care of. But under Lily's tutelage, we're well along, you know, in that process. You know, Lily has had a tremendous impact on the organization, and I have just found it fantastic, personally, to be able to work with Lily. She's not only is she competent and gets things done and all that, but she's great to work with, and that's really important when you're in these kind of endeavors. So thank you, Lily. You've been awesome.
Would Augusta Gussie Stanislaw please join me on the stage?
I'm Nathan Hayward. I'm a member of the board here at the Trustees of Reservations. Gussie and I have been friends for probably 30 years, more than that, I would think. My great friends, Chris and Susie Crockett, who live in Ipswich, have been lifelong friends with Gussie, and so I got to know her through them. And then when I joined the board, of course, we began working together on projects, but she's been a very, very close personal friend for many, many years. Gussie has been our resident intellectual. She has the repository of the fabric of the institution and many of the people who have helped build TTOR up to what it is today. She's got advanced degrees in art history and culture. She's exceedingly well-read. She's lived on, I think, 3 different continents, and has an encyclopedic knowledge of many of the artistic and cultural aspects of what we do and what's been done, you know, in places around the world. Nobody, at least that I know of, on the trustees board has spent more time and more energy and more passion on helping to restore Castle Hill than Gussie. And that's where she and I really began to work very closely together, because it's a place that has great significance for me. And so her knowledge and her love of the place was very, very helpful. And together I think we accomplished a lot. Look, the LA today doesn't look anything like it did 5 years ago. I mean, she is so wonderful. I shouldn't be sentimental about this because this is business, but nevertheless, Gussie's soft, thoughtful contributions. You know, she speaks quietly, but boy, you better listen to what she has to say, because it's always well informed. And the fact that she is such a close friend, I'm going to miss that desperately now. We will continue to be friends and continue to see each other outside the trustees' ambit. But having her there at the same table, working on the same problems, feeling pretty much the same way about the issues, has been a real treat for me, and I know for everybody else on the board. So she's going to be sorely missed. Best of luck, Gussie, and be sure to keep coming back to see us.
I want to thank each of our honorees tonight for their dedication to the trustees. Together, they have given more than 50 years of service to this organization. So can we have another round of applause for these incredible trustees? While we have great people going out, I'm really excited about the great people that we have coming in. I would like to invite Vice Chairman of the Board, Brian Kinney, to the stage to present the exciting slate of nominations. And I want to thank Brian in advance for the incredible job that he and the nominating committee have done this year. I think you will see what I mean.
But you will not see it in drone format. Every year, if you've been here before, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to read a bunch of names for about 10 minutes. If you'd like to follow along, and why wouldn't you? They're all in here. Every year, the nominating committee and the governance committee dedicate lots of hours, lots of meetings to identifying, recruiting people that we'd like to nominate for leadership roles. And we'd like to renominate to continue their leadership roles. So we have, as we always do, a terrific slate of candidates before you. And now I'm going to read a bunch of names and hopefully get them all right. Again, in the book. For the board, we've got 3 new nominations for 3-year terms. Peter Coffin, Karen Conway, and Tom French. Also for the board, we have two renominations for 3-year terms, Amy Auerbach and David Foster. For the advisory board, we have 17, I think a new record, new nominations for 3-year terms, Elizabeth de Montrichard, Fotine Demoulis, Philip Edmondson, Spencer Glendon, Elizabeth Johnson, Julia Krapf, Marty Lempres, Alexandra Liftman, David McCabe, Kathleen Taradash McIntyre, Michael Pryor, Anthony Rockty, Christopher Shepard, Jonathan Soroff, Arthur Steinert, Hope Sutton, and Elizabeth Weinberg Smith. We also have 5 renominations for 3-year terms for the advisory board. Laura Bibler, Walter Donovan, James Ellard, Daniel Meyer, and Russ Piotr. And for Chairman's Council, we have 9 new nominations: Steve Bersu, Sarah Brohl, Liza Carey, Bill Clendaniel, Jamie Hoyt, Elizabeth Johnson, B. Porter, Gussie Stanislaw, and Leah Wainwright. And then for corporate trustees, the base level of governance, we've got 29 new nominations, also for 3-year terms. Catherine Abbott, John Kerry, Jonathan Chatenover, Claire Corcoran, Elizabeth de Montrichard, Fotine Demoulis, Brian Donahue, Charles Esdale, Sarah Eustace, Samuel Feldman, Tom French, Spencer Glendon, Roland Hawk, Elizabeth Johnson, David McCabe, Kathleen Taradash McIntyre, Albert Nierenberg, Elizabeth Owens, Arthur Parker, Claudia Perlis, Paul Prisbilla, Anthony Rockty, Bradford Rodney, Renee Schweikart, Jonathan Soroff, Arthur Steinert, Hope Sutton, Solomon Watson, and Martin Wohl. And there's also in here a longer list that I'm not going to read of corporate trustees, you were worried about that, who are renominated for terms of 3 years. It's about 150, 170 people on page 8 and 9 that you have before you. I always have to ask this, and I always hope the answer is no. Are there any nominations from the floor? No. Great. Can I have a motion to instruct the secretary to accept the slate as a single vote for approval? Any second? All in favor? Any opposed? Fantastic. Okay, this year we actually have one additional thing, and that was included in the proxy package. This is not in this thing tonight, but you all received a proxy package, and I'm sure you all looked at it. And what we did this year, the governance committee changed the bylaws, modified them a bit. It's good practice every so often, in our case 11 years, to take a look at the bylaws, really read them thoroughly, see if they still apply to how you conduct yourself or any tweaks you need to make. And so our governance committee spent a fair amount of time this year really poring over them. We did have some outside help from an external lawyer who was an expert at bylaws, and we changed them. So based on that review, you've seen the changes, I hope, and they're really intended to bring these bylaws in line with our current practices and to provide clarity where it might have been missing and to provide a little bit of greater flexibility in our operations. So that's what we did with the bylaws. We reviewed and approved these with outside counsel. The board has reviewed and approved these back in September, and so we need to bring that before the full body as we're doing here. And here again is a question I'm going to ask that the answer is no. Are there any questions or comments from the floor? Great. Can I have a motion to instruct the secretary to approve the bylaw changes as a single vote for approval? Any seconds? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Fantastic. Thank you all.
Okay, could I have your attention again? I know I keep interrupting you, but I think it's probably better if we have a little presentation and then a little socializing and eating and then a little presentation, because if we tried to do it all at once, I don't think you'd like that. Thank you, Brian, for putting together such an outstanding group of individuals. They are, in essence, our future. These are the people that will become part of the trustees and be the people you will be hearing from in the future. And I also want to thank you for getting the bylaws in order. May we not have to do this for another 10 years. Although it wasn't as painful as I thought it was going to be. We didn't spend that much time on it. On occasion, we invite certain individuals to become life trustees, a trustee for life. These people have given an exceptional amount of service, time, and effort to the organization, and this is our highest honor. At this time, I'd like to recognize Lily Johnson for her 27 years of service and involvement with the trustees. Lily, I know you don't like public recognition, but we really felt we wanted to do this.
Lily joins other great friends like Al Creighton and George Lewis and Franny Colburn, who not only provided decades of service, but also continued strategic counsel. Lily brings me newspaper articles with ideas, and she's signed letters and held parties, but she's also had quiet meetings talking about land acquisitions or particular issues. And she has been a friend to not only myself, but to the presidents that came before me and the board in thinking through the challenges our organization faces. That kind of advice, that kind of dedication, that real thoughtfulness, that real vision is very rare, and we're so thrilled to have her as a life trustee. What I really appreciate about Lily is that she's such a selfless leader. Not only is she incredibly humble, but you get a sense that she's taking the whole picture in mind. And so for me personally, she's been a touchstone on what matters, and the wisdom, I think, not only is what she brings to the everyday, but looking across 3 decades of service really can help guide what are the smart decisions of our organization. Perhaps what I most enjoy about her, though, is not just her civic mindedness and her incredible philanthropic leadership, but that she's funny and she's fun and she's truly kind, and she remembers birthdays and things going on with your kids, and she cares about every one of our employees, and she's so upbeat and infectious and delight to be around. So Lily, on behalf of all of your friends at the trustees, the board, the volunteers, the staff, thank you for your service, and we are so delighted to have you with us as a life trustee.
Listen to the words we use to describe Lily. Committed, tireless worker, positive can-do attitude, passionate about the purpose, tremendous impact, and as Barbara said, good-humored. Lily, this is what you have been to us. And in appreciation, we have made a proclamation for inclusion in the TTOR record books. And I'm just going to read the first whereas and the last whereas. Because there's a lot of whereases in this particular, there's a lot to say about Lily. Whereas Lily Johnson has provided over 25 years of service and continues her participation on multiple committees of the board. These include the search committee for our current president, the Boston Committee, that's our urban work in Boston, the Cultural Resources Committee, which she chairs, the Cultural Resource Campaign Committee, which she co-chairs, the Strategic Opportunities Committee, and the Public Garden Committee, which she also chairs. You can see Lily has been a very big part of us. Whereas Lily has been responsible for the pursuit of excellence in our preservation work and our buildings, landscapes, archives, and collections that are reaching new standards of professionalism, care, intellectual scholarship, and national recognition. Whereas Lily has been a tireless leader in the conservation and preservation fields, both in Maine and in Massachusetts, through her board service and volunteer engagement over many decades, and remains a steadfast advocate for the saving and sharing of special places. So accordingly, it is so proclaimed that on this 29th day of October, 2015, by the Board of Directors of the Trustees of the Reservations, that Lily Johnson receives the designation of Life Trustee. Let's all give Lily a hand. That wasn't too painful, was it, Lily? Each year, we honor an exceptional employee for going the extra mile for the organization. This year, we honor Denise Trapani, a member of our development team. Denise, would you please join me here on the stage? hand over to you.
Hi, I'm Denise Trapani, Director of Leadership Giving at the Trustees. I'm very pleased to have been named the Employee of the Year. The Trustees is an organization which I have known and loved for many, many years. First as a member, hiking the trails and really enjoying all the opportunities that the organization affords. And I was just delighted when I was able to join the Trustees to lead the Cultural Resources campaign. I arrived at the Trustees 2 years ago, and we were already beginning the Cultural Resources campaign. Since that time, we have raised over $23.5 million, which has been invested almost immediately into the properties. It's so exciting. It's just so heartening to see our properties being transformed in a way that attracts visitors to see them anew, to want to come and to want to participate and want to really understand the stories behind each of our properties. You know, even before I was awarded the Employee of the Year, I think I sort of felt like the Employee of the Year in that I was given this great gift to be able to use my skills in such a way that on a daily basis, I can't wait to get out of bed to get to work to achieve this incredible vision. I believe that historic places, cultural resources, public gardens are really exciting places to be. I believe that they really can pull people in to enjoy landscapes, to learn how to be on a landscape and look at it differently. I believe that the stories of Mabel Choate, of Sophia Hawthorne, of Alan Haskell are incredibly fun and teach us something about ourselves.
Volunteers are the backbone of our operations. Without these nearly 2,000 individuals working 30,000 hours in the last year, we could not have achieved such success. Among these many volunteers, we choose one each year who demonstrated exemplary service. This year, we honor Ann Antonellis. Ann, would you join me on the stage?
When the opportunity arose to volunteer, I was really lucky. I learned some good skills from some really awesome people at Ware River Farm. For me, it's important because it's such a huge part of my life right now at this point and my routine. And you should see my house. I'm never home. I'm either at work or I'm volunteering for something, and my house is a disaster. But that doesn't matter. It's really great to volunteer, and I think people would get a lot out of doing it because it gives you an opportunity to learn new things and have experiences you might not otherwise have that maybe you thought about. I got that email and I laughed my head off out loud at work, and I was really touched because really it's so great to be recognized. I just was really touched and I can't believe it, and I had to pause because I was like, oh my God, the Volunteer of the Year? Not just for the farm either. That's just crazy. So I just felt very grateful that I was recognized, that everything I do is recognized.
Each year, we present the prestigious Charles Elliott Award to Conservationist of the Year. It is given to an individual or organization who has made an impact of significance in conservation in the Commonwealth. This is a particularly fascinating one this year. When you hear the history, I think you'll agree with me. This year, we honor the Amelia Peabody Charitable Fund, which embodies the qualities and character of its namesake patron. Amelia Peabody was a very private person with a public conscience. She once proclaimed, "If I ever do take up charity, I intend to do it and not half do it." And so she did it. She acquired farmland in Dover, which is now our Powasset Farm, and also Noannet Woods, also now a Trustees reservation. Quietly distributing her wealth for the public good, mostly without people ever knowing from whence it came. She was also a prolific artist and had a studio where she created sculptures. Her works were exhibited in the New York World's Fair, the Whitney Museum, and the Boston Athenaeum. She was an avid volunteer working to take care of injured veterans during and after World Wars I and II. A pioneer in alternative energy, she actually created her studio as a passive solar building all the way back in 1948. The Amelia Peabody Charitable Fund extends her legacy today, having awarded nearly $200 million in grants to New England nonprofits. These further her lifelong interest in health, visual arts, land conservation, and historic preservation. Tonight, we honor the Peabody Charitable Fund as Conservationist of the Year for their many contributions to open space throughout Massachusetts. Most recently, this includes their participation in the protection of 2 parcels of land in Dover at the Pegan Hill Reservation in Natick and Dover, which I will speak about later. Accepting the award for the fund today is Managing Trustee Caleb Loring. Caleb, will you please come up to the stage to accept the award?
You're going to have some words, right? Okay, yes. I'd like to thank the trustees on behalf of my co-trustees, Bob Banish, Gig Babson, myself, and the whole staff that exists, Meg Morton in particular, who recently joined us. You've heard about this lady, so we're really just stewards of her legacy. She was a remarkable woman with many interests. You'll see her name in many places in town here. And we have the privilege of carrying that on. We were at another nonprofit today that we have supported in an expansion. And they gave me a quote of a letter that was written to her after she made a gift for a number of years to the organization. And the director of that organization wrote her saying, "It is a privilege to receive money from a friend to pour into the life of others." And we as trustees of Amelia Peabody have that privilege. So I'd ask you please to raise a glass to Miss Peabody, who left her whole estate to 2 big charitable funds that to continue to benefit this state and this region in so many ways. So David, thank you on behalf of the trustees, but more importantly, on behalf of Miss Peabody.
Here, here. A little something. Thank you very much. We will now take a brief break. We'll be back. Before my review of this year's accomplishments and Barbara's glimpse into the future.